Okay, we're going. So, hey everyone, I hope you guys are having a good day so far and a good week, and your weather's been doing good for you. This is one of my first lives, so I'm a little nervous. I think maybe you are a little too. So, no promises that it'll be amazing or that I'll be doing this again. I don't know. We'll see. So, tonight I have, it's pronounced Rainer, right? Is that right?
Rainier.
Rainier? Oh, wait, I was way off. Okay.
Don't.
Rainier?
Everyone does that. It's not.
Okay.
I'm used to it.
And then it's reindeer's bees or rainers?
Yeah, reindeer's bees.
Okay, cool. So I'm doing a live with you tonight. I'm super excited. I think we'll maybe just do it like an hour or two. We'll see what happens, how it goes. So how have you been, and what's the weather like been for you up there?
I've been all right. It's pretty cold here, I'd say. Last week, so last Friday night, it got to -40 with wind chill, and that's the coldest it's ever been. I've lived here about 10 years, and yeah, the air temperature was like 17 degrees, but the winds were over 25 miles per hour. Then flash forward a week till today. Today the high was 52 degrees, so it's about almost 100-degree temperature swing in the last week. And I wouldn't say this is typical for where I live, but it that can happen. We normally get one warm day in February where the bees go out and they poop all over the snow, and you don't want your truck anywhere near that.
Yeah.
And they carry out all the dead bees, and generally you can tell every single hive whether they're alive or not because all the live ones will have brought bees out and you'll see them at the front. I've even seen them carry bees like over 80 feet away from the hives. I can't explain why, but sometimes it happens. So it's 52 degrees today, and my colonies, I have 15 of the 18 that I sent into winter that are still alive. And I'm always hoping for 18 of, not lose that hive, but it happens. It is what it is. I'm a little worried I have an apiary at a farm about 10 minutes from my house. And the 5 colonies in that yard were all about the same weight. I would estimate they have about 3 frames of honey left. And considering we have about 2 months till any small amount of nectar comes in, I'm definitely going to put on some dry sugar in the next 2 weeks. My bee class instructor told me on Valentine's Day, you should be thinking about your bees and you need to put on dry sugar to make sure they're okay.
That's good advice. Yeah.
That was his memento for remembering.
Nice. All right, so if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the chat and we'll try to answer them. So where exactly are you located?
So I live in Mid-Coast Maine, Woolwich, Maine. I live an hour north of Portland. I'd say, that's the most important city in Maine that people really know. So I don't live in southern Maine. That's why we call it Mid-Coast, because I don't really live in southern Maine. And for whatever reason, in Maine, we call northern Maine down east. And I don't live that far north either. So I think I was looking, and we're like climate zone 4B or something, or 4A or 4B.
Mm-hmm.
So we get, freezing nights from October till April.
Wow.
Not saying every night's freezing, but we definitely get freezing nights. We even get our first frost here in Maine most years in like September, late September. So it's like, I made a video about it, like between the north and the south, it's just so much more compressed of a season. And so that has positives and negatives. We don't have as much dearth to deal with as you guys do in the south. And so that can be useful, but you just have to be on top of everything because the season's so short. Like our winter bees are being made in August. So
wow. Yeah. So how did you get into beekeeping?
So I've been obsessed with many different hobbies in my, young life at this point. And so for me, I started, I was really interested in gold panning, and I was obsessed with chickens for a long time. And I lived on my grandparents' farm, so I've always been involved with agriculture. And my mom, knowing the type of person I was, she said, do you want to go to bee class with me? And I said, Okay.
Yeah.
So in 2018, we went to bee class at like this place called Spicer's Bees, about 40 minutes from my house. And I haven't looked back since. Literally, like the first day that I got home, I pulled up YouTube and I started watching bee videos.
Wow.
And I've been obsessed ever since. So
Yeah.
that first year, we only have one package. And then 5 years later, I have, 18 hives going into winter.
Yeah. Right. That's how it goes. You think
Yeah.
you want one, and then you have five. Yeah.
I said I wanted 5, then 10, then 15, then 20. Now I'm at 30. That's where I stay.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's kind of how beekeeping goes. You see it, and then you're instantly in love with it. You just want to do it. Like, it's not something that you can kind of slowly, like, you just instantly like it so much. So yeah, that's kind of what happened for me. I was my dad kind of started getting into it, and then I noticed he was getting into it, and then I was like, I want to do this. So it's kind of how it happened for me. How long have you been keeping bees now?
So I installed my first package on April 4th, 2018. And so as of this spring, it'll be 5 years.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. So that first year, my mom and I, like, we did everything together. Like, I did one inspection without her. And then fast forward to the second year, she had less free time. And, it was really my thing at that point. So
Yeah.
I bought my own hives, and I don't know. I was obsessed with, I would, I'd try to get in there every week if I could.
Yeah. Nice. Pierce from Beekeeping Equipment. He's an awesome guy. He was at Hive Life. He's super, super nice. Let's see. So speaking of Hive Life, what did you think of Hive Life? Like your overall thought?
I
know.
So like I'd never been so excited for anything like in my entire life.
Yeah.
I was that excited. Like I came and got back to me at the end of August that I'd gotten the sponsorship, and
Nice.
so I was so pumped. I was over the moon.
Yeah,
I,
so
like,
you were
ran
one
in.
of the sponsors. What was that like?
I don't know if it changed that much because we mostly just took a picture, but but it was I just felt lucky to be have that opportunity to go, and like overall about the conference, like I just couldn't believe how big it was. Like
Yeah, I know. It's
you
always way
you
more
say
than
2,000 people, but
you
it
don't
doesn't.
think. No, yeah.
Like when I walked in that vendor hall, I was like,
Yeah, that's the scariest part for sure. Yeah, there's so much to see and look at and talk to. And it's crazy, but yeah, Hive Life is a lot.
yeah,
It's fun. It's just like I don't think I could do that even twice a year. Like I really have to have a year in advance to get ready for it. But yeah, it's a lot of fun.
it's just like a lot of emotional energy because there's just so many people,
Yeah.
and like you end up talking to a bunch of random people between every
Yeah.
talk. Like every talk that I went to, I was like I was talking to one of my friends, and then someone else from behind me was interested in so they like joined into the conversation.
Yes, that's
It
you
was
have this circle of people that you're talking to. Yeah, it's crazy, but it's really fun. That's what I love about it most is that you get to talk to all these beekeepers because like you don't see those people out, just going to the grocery store every day. Like you don't see that. You have to really go to these conferences to meet those kinds of people.
Yeah.
So
I like I said, I watch YouTube religiously, and I don't know, it was awesome. I got to take a picture with all my idols.
Yeah, that's always fun.
It was pretty fun. I
like
really
meeting Ian is crazy.
He's a lot taller than I expected. I'm
yeah,
not
he is. Well, you're just used to Cayman's height, which is so short.
Yeah, it's like the lowest bar you can possibly set.
Yeah.
So he says he's 5'8".
He's not. He thinks I'm taller than him at this point, and I'm not 5'8", so he's not. Let's just say that now.
5'6", maybe.
Maybe at best, when he's got his heels on. Yeah. Did you end up buying anything at Hive Life or anything you were making?
I bought a Hilco smoker.
Oh no, nice. How is that going? Or I guess
I actually just used it for the first time today.
Yeah.
It was good. The genius that I am, I decided for some reason to stick my lighter in the snow, and then it went out. So then I had to like put my hand over the end to melt the snow.
Yeah.
And I got it going, and it was fine. But
okay, cool. What did you use as fuel? What did you use there?
So I use like cedar shavings, which it can be problematic. Like eventually the I can't remember what it's called, but like the black stuff like clogs up the top.
Yes.
But it's normally not a huge problem. My first smoker, like, I have a funny story about that. So like my mentor, she lives like she lives about two houses down from where I was when we first started.
Mhm.
And the first year, like I watched a 60-second YouTube video and I could light a smoker. I felt very good about myself. I was over the moon because the first couple times we tried it, absolute failure. And so once we figured out how to do it, I felt really good about it. And,
Yeah.
fast forward to the next summer, the entire year, I could never light a smoker, not one time. And so I'm thinking, man, I just totally lost my touch. I'm never going to be able to figure this out again. So like last week of September, during like the last inspection of the year, my mentor asked her to come over to help me combine a hive. This is my second year. And the smoker goes out because I asked her to bring her own fuel so she could try to light it. And she's like, that doesn't make any sense because she'd been doing it for already like 6 years at the time.
Yeah.
And in the top of the smoker, there's like a little grid with some holes in it. And that had been completely clogged with like soot. And so the entire year I'd wasted all my time. It took about less than 30 seconds for her to scrape the soot off, and then it was perfectly fine. But I spent the entire year just spending hours trying to light the thing and keep it going.
Yeah. I have had so much trouble with smokers. I used to be really good at it too. And then I just like thought it was so cool and now I can't do it anymore. But I may or may not have run over my smoker at one point. So it's it's barely standing, but it's okay. It still works and I'm not getting rid of it because it has all the stickers on it and everything.
Yeah, I saw the video. That thing's pretty beautiful. I mean, I gotta say,
I know.
That's one of the most tasteful things I've ever seen.
I'm never getting rid of it. It's great. But yeah, I also had like it was building up at the top of it and I didn't know that. And so it like would never stay lit. Like it would be going really well and then I'd be like it would just go out. I'm like, why did it go out? But yeah.
The weird part is I didn't realize because all the smoke was going out like around where it closed to the top. So it wasn't even going out the top part of the smoker, but I still never figured that out. I don't know how.
Yeah. Well, since I ran over it and it was all messed up, it like comes out the sides now, but I don't know. It's fine. It's fine. So Caitlin's actually on right now.
I saw.
Of course. He called me an idiot on his live the other day. So.
Wait, which one was that?
It was with Richard.
I did watch that. I don't remember that.
So he's not gonna be getting talked to me for a while. Let's see.
Is that why you insulted him?
Right. Well, I just do it all the time, anyways. I mean, that's just how I am.
I know. I noticed that. Yeah.
Yeah. Never once did I. Wait, what does it say here? It just
never once have I stated I was taller than you.
Okay, but actually, at Hive Life, we were standing next to each other, and I'm 100% taller than him. It's just a little bit, but it's noticeable. So, yeah.
It's just a little bit, but it's noticeable. Those seems like two contradictory things there.
Okay, let's see.
And I hate to break it to you, Natalie, but are you sure you're proud of that?
Right. All right, I'm going to keep asking you maybe a couple more questions, and then...
there was one from Wildwood's Honeybee Farm, 811. Is it 811?
Let's see. What? This is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. It's okay. What kind of question was it? Oh, is it up there?
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, yeah. So it says, so Rainier, I don't think we got a chance to speak at Hive Life, but I was wondering if you could tell us about your years of beekeeping and what you found to find effective for treating for mites. So here in the north, it's not like some places in the south, we get a brood break every winter. Like our queens will stop laying in October. And so we can normally use oxalic acid and kill all the mites in like mid-November. So I do that. And then I've used Formic Pro, which Bruce's Bees just had a video about that a couple days ago. And so it is temperature sensitive, but as I think his name might have been Tom in the video said, as long as the temperature thresholds are under 85 for the first couple of days, that's when most of the acid comes out. And so you don't see that much of an adverse effect against the bees and the brood when you're using Formic. as long as it's under that 85 threshold for the first few days. That's the main, like, because that's how much the weather really can predict when you look online. And so I've mostly used that. Um, it's like one of those things. If you had I had embarrassingly like a 13 or 14 wash in early August last year.
Yeah.
I treated with that, and then like 2 weeks later, it was down to a 3.
You treated with what? Formic Pro?
Formic Pro.
Okay.
So 2 strips, 14 days. So it it's very effective at killing mites very fast. I've seen a couple. It kills some brood, but when you come, you're not supposed to open it up till the treatment's done. So by the time the treatment's done, the bees have cleaned out any dead brood mostly.
Mm-hmm.
And what I find is I have lost queens, but I've only lost 2, and I've treated, I don't even know how many times, but over 15 times. So it doesn't kill that many queens. And the only time, or one of the 2 times that it killed the queen, it was because it didn't have enough bees. Like I should have combined that hive with another one before treating. And it was a weak queen also. They talked about that in the video Bruce just put out as well. If it's a weak or old queen, often those are the ones that die from formic. So it's kind of like culling out the stock that was failing anyways. And so the hive was small and the queen never built up the entire summer. So, and then I can't explain the other one, but 1 out of 20 plus treatments is not a big loss.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that was one of the questions I put up there.
You have small hive beetle issues. So hive beetles aren't able to reproduce here. And I'm not entirely sure why. I guess it's just not warm enough, but it's pretty warm here during the summer. We'll still get, 70 to 90 degree days for most of July and August. So they don't reproduce, but we'll get them in packages, or if someone brings their nukes up to Maine. So they exist, but they're not a huge problem. And oddly, people have been seeing a couple more of them lately, and I found that to be true as well. But I've never had a hive slimed and never really had any significant problems with it.
That's good.
Yeah. I mean, you can keep them.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah.
Have you used any traps or anything, or do you guys strong colonies fix most problems? I'm assuming.
Most of the time, yeah. We have yet to use any traps, so yeah, we don't really have too bad of a problem with them. Sometimes it'll be like in the pollen patty every now and then or something like that, but it's not too bad over here.
Yeah, I mean, from the videos, from what I see, unless you have a really small nuke, it's not really an issue.
No, it's not. There was a question.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. You want to go first?
You can go first.
All right.
Here.
So I don't have any VSH stock currently, but there is a breeder in Bucksport, Maine, Jason Peters, who has bought some of Corey Stevens' virgin queens.
Mm-hmm.
And then those queens go out and mate, and then all the drones those queens will make have the VSH trait.
Yeah.
So he's breeding VSH, and I would definitely consider in the future buying some virgins from Corey and helping improve my stock that way.
Yeah, so we actually just last year, can't remember what time of the year it was, we ended up getting some queens from Corey, which I was super excited about because I had done an interview with him and decided that we would go ahead and get queens from him. So we did, and we're still testing it out, kind of seeing how they're doing. So I hope to do some videos on that this year also. And if they end up doing well, we'll definitely continue to graft from them and keep that going in our apiary. So yeah, I don't have a whole lot of experience with it yet, but I'm hoping to in the future. Yeah, Corey is an awesome guy. He was also at Hive Life. I don't know if you got a chance to talk to him or not, but he's a really cool guy and he knows what he's talking about, but he would never tell you that. He's a really cool guy, so I would definitely suggest checking him out.
He's got so many great interviews with other people and where he's being interviewed. Duck River Honey did some stuff, as well as a couple others. Mm-hmm. Definitely check those out. They're really interesting. Yeah. Talks a lot about virgins, the cell making, all of it's really interesting.
Yeah, he knows a lot.
Yeah.
Let's see what else is going on. I have some more questions for you.
All right.
I'll just kind of pop them up on the screen and then you can answer them.
Yeah. So, what keeps beekeeping exciting for you? You know,
Yeah.
Bob talks about it. It's 50% science, 50% art, and at times it feels a lot more arty to me.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, you can try a million things, and there's still more things for you to try. Like, it's
Yes.
just there's infinite amount of experience to be gained, and even the smallest changes can be entertaining in some way. So that's always exciting, and there's infinite amounts of research coming out, and it's just fascinating to learn about the biology of the bees. Like you just
Yeah.
it just they keep coming out with more information, and you keep learning old stuff that
Yeah.
have already been published.
Yeah, that's one thing that I think is important. Is like there's never something that you can't learn about bees. There's always something new. And that's another thing is like, you could do one thing, but then there's always another thing to do cuz it can, there's some things that you can get into like hobbies that are kind of repetitive, but beekeeping is not that way. If you decide to, try
Yeah,
other things out, it will not be
we
repetitive at
we
all.
make it repetitive when we find something that works, but we always can try
Yeah,
other things. Like it's never
right.
you don't have to. There's always more
Yeah.
things that you can do.
Yeah. So Chris Medeiros is on. He was super cool at
Hive
Hive
Life
Life.
Wizard,
Yeah. Um.
Cayman's Tech Whiz. He needs him.
Yeah. I was just about to say that. Yeah, Caitlin needs a lot of help in that. um. Here's another question.
All right, so
Oh, it just went away.
what are some of your plans and goals you have? What does the next 5 years look like? So I'm a junior in high school, so I graduate next spring.
Okay.
Um, my goal is 30. That's what I've been saying for the past couple of years. We'll see how much I budge on that. Like this winter, I want to have 25 plus 5 nukes. I think that's going to be pretty easy.
Yeah.
Um, you know, maybe someday I'll be a commercial beekeeper, but I don't really want to go right out of high school because I
Yeah.
could be in some serious debt if I fail. So, um, what does the next 5 years look like for me? I certainly want to be a sideliner as far as into the future as I can be. You know, 30 is kind of the border, I would say. Maybe I'll
Yeah.
move up a little past that, but hopefully I'll be able to find a Maine, has apiary inspector assistance. So if that job opens up, I know the inspector pretty well, so I'd hope to
Okay. Yeah,
apply
that's
for
cool.
that.
Yeah. So here's a question from Mike Berry. Natalie, are you opening hives yet? I am not yet. You're not. Yeah, there's no way.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, what do you mean by like I didn't pull out any frames.
Right. Like you're not
Off
doing
the top.
inspections
Yeah.
yet. Yeah.
So when do you typically do your first inspections?
It just well, I like for me, I think like just a really small inspection that we do. This isn't really an inspection, but whenever the pollen starts coming in, which is typically maple, whenever we see that start to bloom, we'll go over and look at the hives and see if they're bringing any pollen in. And if they are, then that's a good sign. That's one way. I think it's just like a short inspection. That's one thing we're doing. We'll be doing that pretty soon here. I think that's like, I don't know when that starts. I think that's like early or end of March, maybe.
Yeah.
Something like that, early April. It just depends on what the weather is like. Sometimes 1st of March. Okay, I just got the answer. 1st of March, something like that. It just depends on what the weather is like. If we get a really good amount of rain or not too much, we'll get a really good like black locust flow. Sorry,
Yeah.
I have to read while I'm like talking and it's
Yeah.
hard
No, I
to
get
stop.
it.
Yeah, that's the youth scholarship shirt, isn't it?
Youth sponsorship, yeah.
Yeah, that.
I didn't wear it because the meme's not on the front, but I got the Blue Ridge Honey Company. It's like the meme of the crazy person,
Yeah.
farmer, and then beekeeper in the middle. I saw that a couple years ago, and when I saw it in the shirt, I knew I had to have it. I mean,
Yeah.
can't miss out on an opportunity like that.
Nice. So at this point, I have a ton of different beekeeping shirts because there's a lot out there. Okay, hold on.
There's
I'm
a
gonna
lot
have to
out there.
read this too. Oh, well, he's not that high, so I mean, it doesn't. It's not that hard.
He
No, but
says it's high.
right. This is so fun. I'm so glad you're able to make fun of cavemen too. So, what's one of the hardest parts for you about starting at such a young age, though?
Honestly, for me, like it's hard to pick like one thing, but mostly I don't know. People take me less seriously at bee meetings and whatnot because like I'm just a kid,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I mean that bothers me a little bit, but
Mhm.
whatever. Mostly the actual beekeeping. Honestly, it's just driving and having a car. That's the biggest barrier for me because I'm not like you. I don't want 50 hives at my house. I think that's a little bit
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
So like I have 7 at my house and then 6 at another yard and then 5 at another yard. I want to have like 5 each. And so that the physical distance and driving, because I live about 10 minutes from each apiary, which doesn't seem like a lot, but
Okay. Yeah.
to get out there, every two
Yeah.
weeks, it poses some amount of challenge.
Yeah. So you kind of saw the question that just went up there. I think it's a good thing and it's going to help us out a lot in the future, but it's also really hard to start at a younger age, just because especially because there's really not anybody our age in beekeeping. So walking into a conference and another thing for me is it's all guys, you
Yeah,
know.
that
But
is, yeah.
yeah, I mean it's fun too because you're starting at such a young age. You have all these opportunities, but it can be hard every now and then because we're both still in high school. I just went to high school, so we're both in high school. We're doing school. So it can be
It's
kind
a
of
lot,
hard.
a
But
lot to do at once. Yeah,
yeah,
like
for sure, that's what I
I'm
feel like.
taking a couple AP classes and I've got infinite
Yeah,
schoolwork. So
yeah.
fitting that all in, and I also play sports. It's
Oh, really? Nice.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
it's hard.
it's a lot to do.
Yeah.
And but it just feels great to have all these people acknowledge
Mhm.
all the hard work you've put in and
Yeah.
time that you've taken to learn beekeeping and yeah, all about
Another thing that you recently got into is a YouTube channel. So
it. Yeah.
how's that going?
At Hive Life, I realized that I wanted to have my own YouTube,
Mhm.
and so I just went for it. I
Yeah.
was telling Natalie before we started, um, I set my phone on a book on my windowsill. And then I start filming, and then I pick up the phone and edit out the parts where I pick up and put down the phone. It's gone all right. Like 2 of my videos hit 100 views, so I was pretty
Yeah.
excited about that.
Yeah, you're getting there. In the beginning, it's a little hard, but you're doing really well.
Yeah, it feels intimidating. Like
Yeah.
it's an experience. Like
Yeah, it is.
especially the first time I was on camera, like I felt like my heart was throbbing,
Yeah.
like right now. And like after the first one or two, it changed a lot for me. Like I
Mhm.
feel like I'm just talking, not like
Right.
worried about
Right.
messing up. Like there's a
Yeah.
difference between trying to say what you want and worried you're going to mess up.
Yeah.
And I don't I write down a script for every one of my videos, but like
Mhm.
I kind of loosely adhere to
Yeah.
it. It's kind of like general ideas.
Yeah, when I first started, I was super oh, we're gonna do this. It's gonna be great. We're gonna do all the different things. I'm gonna edit videos really well. I'm gonna do all these different things to it. And then I started doing it. And it was this is a lot. So now I really just do one clip videos and then barely any editing. Like the Hive Life video that I recently posted was
The hardest one.
honestly, yeah, and it was probably one of the that's just hard to film in general because you're in the space of so many people, and it's just hard to film a video on the spot. And I always feel like once I film an interview with somebody, I can't redo it because it's their time,
It's
and I don't
just
want to.
weird, and if you
Yeah,
already said it, it's just
yeah.
yeah.
So it's really hard in the beginning too, and then people start commenting a lot, and then it's feel the need to always interacting, but it's super fun when you get to interact with these people over the comment section, and then you get to meet them in person, which is always exciting. That's why Hive Life is so fun because you're talking to these people over comment sections, and then you get to meet them and actually talk to them. But yeah, it can be hard, but it can also be really fun. So yeah.
Yeah, um it was it was really hard. Like the first night I felt so shy. Like I was so like in my own head, I guess, because I had so much expectations for this, and like I'd wait
Hmm.
months and months for this day,
Yeah.
and then it's finally there, and then you're there, and it's like now I'm supposed to do something, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I felt really shy, but I got over that pretty quickly the next day.
Yeah. Let's see what this is.
There's a question from Gus.
Sorry, I have to read it.
Okay, I'll start then.
Yeah. Yeah.
What aspect excites me for 2023? I really want to focus on my queen rearing. Like,
Yeah.
I've made a fair amount of queens. Like, I did the math and not sold, but made like over 100, I think, at this point in the
Nice. That's
past
good.
couple of years. And I've sold about 40 of those. And it's really challenging. I haven't had great takes. Like, I did much better my first year with takes.
Yeah.
And my only assessment is, one, I needed to buy more Chinese grafting tools because they got kind of
Yeah.
bent, not
Yeah.
kind
That's
of
what
right.
happened to me. Yeah.
And so I think that was part of it. And then also, like, my plan is, double deep cell builder. So I'm going to, 2 weeks before, 10 days before, I'm just going to put like 8 frames of capped brood in the top box. And that's my solution to making sure it's plenty strong enough to accept my grafts.
Yeah.
And any tools or management techniques, I want to overwinter 5-frame nukes. So I'm going to buy 6-frame insulated Lyson nukes, and
Okay.
it should be able to overwinter the 6 months here.
Yeah. I would say the queen rearing is another thing that we're really looking into. Hold on. Oh yeah. The nukes that you were just talking about, we have those, and we really do like them. Anyways, so one thing, yeah, I would definitely say queen rearing is something that we are gonna focus on a little bit more this year, and we also want to grow our hives a lot more this year. The numbers.
Really?
Yeah, for sure. I think we're around like 70 or 80 right now. Definitely want to get to at least 100, hopefully. We'll see.
So did you make a lot of splits, go to like 150 and then?
Yeah, yes. We did a lot of splits last year, and we focused mainly on that last year, and we still got a decent amount of honey. I think that's one thing is you'll focus on, like, if we do splits, we aren't going to get as much honey. But if we, focus on keeping our bees, you know what I'm trying to say here?
Yeah, you choose a priority and you might lose out on some other
right.
things. Like if you want to make a lot of honey, maybe you don't make as many splits. If you make a lot of splits, you may not make as much honey, but
you're way better at this than me. So anyway, yeah, I think that's kind of what we're going to look into a little bit more this year. And we have some new tools and stuff where we've recently got that I'm hoping to film some videos on. We're kind of upgrading our extracting system this year, which I'm really excited about.
I'm jealous.
Yeah. What are you doing right now for that?
Running my extractor into the ground currently. No. So I don't really have a good place to extract. Like my basement's okay. I run a humidifier, and the moisture's not a huge issue, but my basement is not flat anywhere. So I don't have an access to like a legitimately flat location, which, as you might think, might cause problems for the extractor rocking. So even if I get the load perfect, it doesn't matter. It still rocks, and it's never warm enough down there really to sling out the honey that fast. So
yeah. You
see a question from Dirt Rooster. Are either of you running any setups besides Langstroth, Longs, Warrior? What about you?
We just got a horizontal hive.
I think, yeah, I saw that.
That I was surprised with at Hive Life, which was awesome, and I'm so excited about it. We've yet to really pull it out and look at it too much, because we've gotten a lot going on, but yeah, we're going to start that this year, which I'm really excited about. Are you looking to start anything different?
So, yeah, I actually have a story about this. So last March, the president of my bee club reached out to me, and they said someone donated, 3 Warrior hive setups to the club, and they wanted, she wanted someone to use the setup and potentially in the future be able to educate beekeepers in our clubs about that.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't got to use it yet. It's currently in my basement, but it's all drawn already. So I imagine when the time comes, it'll be pretty useful. I was waiting to catch a swarm, and they said they'd give me a swarm as soon as they caught one. never happened. So we'll see if it happens this year or not. But the War A, it's pretty small. But it's it's like any other beehive.
Yeah.
Keep your bees healthy, it'll be fine.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, there's Corey. Yeah, I want to visit him again this year. Oh, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was a good interview.
Yeah.
I saw the video.
Thank you.
I think he saw it. He talked about it in a different interview. I think he was like,
Yeah.
"That was the perfect time. All my cells were the fattest they'd been the entire year. Everything was beautiful that day." Yeah, there's that time during the honey flow where everything feels great and everything's just churning along and going great, and then you hit that dearth and it's like a brick wall. Like it just everything, like for us, like our honey flow ends the first week of July pretty much every year. Okay. And then it's just hard work, no fun. So like the end of the year, like it's just fighting to get it through.
So here's another question. We have not. Have you?
I have not. I've seen plenty of videos about it. Like my first year, like my mentor, like I said, she lived just down the road from me, and we went over to her house, and they were the state inspector was there, and they were talking about notching, and they were kind of like gabbing about beekeeping mysteries about like they're like, well, if I notch this frame, will I get queen cells here? So I haven't done any. I haven't done like any of the cell punch or anything different. I think it's just hard to like prioritize something different if you've already been doing something that works.
Yeah. Like we can talk about grafting for a little bit because that's one of my favorite things to do. It kind of sounds like you're into it a lot. So you said you used a Chinese grafting tool.
Yeah.
Have you tried anything else out?
Yes.
How'd that go?
So this would have been 2020. I met a different beekeeper that lives about 5 minutes from my house. If you're getting a trend here, there's a lot of beekeepers around.
Yeah, I'm noticing, yeah.
And so we did some grafting together, but she's in her 70s, so I was the one doing the grafting because, I could see the larva.
Right.
So I watched all of Cayman's videos, 100 times, wrote down notes, did all my homework, and once I got to the actual grafting of the larva, I did it like on a picnic table on a windy day. And I was using the metal grafting tool, the German tool.
Yeah.
It was not ideal.
Yeah.
I struggled, and I got 0 of those 15 grafts. In the long run, who really cares? I succeeded the next year, and I was even more excited because, of that failure the first time. So that's my experience.
I also tried that grafting tool, and after the fact that I had used the Chinese grafting tool, and I knew that I like the Chinese grafting tool because it's easy and simple, and I know how to do it. So I usually use that one, but I tried the German. Is that right? Yeah.
It's German.
I tried that one, and I think I'm used to being able to press a little button and the larva just slides off, and that's not how it works with the other one. So
it's
hard. I don't know.
Some people prefer it, but as in beekeeping, there are a lot of opinions, and some of them you don't really understand.
Yeah. Yeah, I tried the, I believe it's called the Master Grafter. I also tried that one.
What's that? Can you describe that?
It's kind of like the Chinese grafting tool, actually. It's got a little button also that'll kind of, like basically, there's a little like stick that comes out and you can pick the larva up and then it pulls it off, if that makes any sense.
It sounds pretty similar to Chinese grafting.
It is, yeah. I tried that one out, and I actually really liked it, but I don't have one, so maybe I'll end up getting one. I don't know.
Did you steal Corey's, or what was it?
Right, yeah, it was actually at Corey's, yeah. And then I went over to somebody else's. Do you know Paul Landsberg? I interviewed him a little while ago.
I've heard the name. I can't put it to a face at the moment.
Yeah, he's here in Missouri, so that's how I know him. I believe I might have used it there, too, but I think I ended up switching back to the Chinese. But
was that the video you I challenged a commercial beekeeper?
Oh, yeah, that one.
Was that one? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you like something, just keep it with that. Like, what do I need to change it? So, yeah, I just do the Chinese.
Yeah, but Ian has a question. Are you associated with your state association or bee club? Yes, I'm in the Maine State Beekeepers Association, and I'm in the Knox-Lincoln County Beekeepers. I'm technically in Saginaw County, but we joined the other club. I won Junior Beekeeper of the Year last fall in October. And I was like, I didn't know till like, actually till I got there and we were talking about it.
Yeah.
Because one of the members of my club is the vice president of the state organization. So yeah, I've gone to some of the state. I went to the state convention last year because we had it in person for the first time. Yeah, so I am associated with it.
Yeah, so are we. I also got the Junior Beekeeper Award. So that's one thing that was cool. Yeah, to find out at Hive Life. Yeah, I didn't know about it. I showed up and then I was just sitting there. All of a sudden they were like, "Oh, they're talking about who the winner of the award was," and it sounded a lot like me. And then they said my name, and I was like, "Oh, nice!" So that was a surprise, but it was fun. So yeah.
When I got up onto the stage, the president of the Maine State Beekeepers Association was like, "Do you want to say something, or do you want to give a speech?" And I was like,
no.
Like, no. She's like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "No," because I didn't prepare anything. Like maybe I would have done it if I'd known, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like a more intimidating challenge to have it happen spontaneously. I like found out that morning because the funny thing is the vice president of the state organization was actually my mom's track coach in high school.
Really? Wow.
And so they were emailing back and forth, asking questions. She was asking questions about me, like to write the, exam, blanking on the word.
I get
description. And so I really only found out that morning because like she asked my mom, like, is he going to go? And she's like, yeah, I think I'll take him. So she didn't know for sure, but she had a feeling. And so that's why she kept bothering me. Like, are you going to go? Are you going to go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got up there and they're like, you want to say something? I was like, I guess. Like, I don't know.
What did you say?
I just winged it. I have no idea what I said. So
no one got it on video? Not the famous
there
Natalie?
might be a video somewhere. I hope not.
You hope not?
I hope not. It was probably such a bad talk, but whatever. I mean, what
well,
do you think about it?
At least you weren't paid for it.
Right. There's a lot of people in the chat that I know. Hey, Brian.
Oh, that's not good for you, Natalie.
Oh no, we're not posting it. We're not getting it at all. There's no way. I think there was even a picture that got posted, and I was like, "That's terrible." And my face is red, of course, and like I was so nervous. I was shaking.
I understand the struggle.
Yeah, it's nice. Somebody gets it because Cayman never. He doesn't get nervous. I don't think.
Okay, but have you heard Cayman talk? He just wants to continually talk. It never stops.
Right. It gets so annoying. Like, can we move on? I hope he's still watching.
I doubt it at this point.
Yeah,
he's probably too busy talking.
He's so busy. Probably. Yeah.
Yeah, like he was making this video last year. He's like, yeah, it's midnight and I'm melting wax, and I'm like, you're melting wax at midnight?
Why? Like, yeah, I don't know.
How do you work that many hours a week? Like, I'm impressed.
I don't know. Yeah, he does a good job though, but that's what's annoying about it. She really does do a good job.
Yeah, I started watching his channel like in July of 2019 because like I don't know if you saw the series, but he did like it was eventually like a 30-part series, Package versus Nuke.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
And so like that's how I first was introduced to him, and I watched like most of his videos ever since.
Nice. Yeah, he does do really good on his videos, but I think it's all Laurel.
You think it's all Laurel? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. She edits all the bad stuff out, and then
Does she edit it?
I think I don't know. I feel like
honestly, I'm not sure.
I don't either. Whatever, but still, it's probably her. I mean, she does a good job filming too. So yeah.
Yes, Laurel, the one who giggles.
Right. Yeah. That's what makes the video good. That's the only thing.
There was almost a coup in one of the live chats asking, "We need to see Laurel."
Right. Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that. That was funny.
I'd rather see Laurel than Cayman.
I remember someone was like, "Cayman drools, Laurel rules." That was like that was their comment. Yeah.
That's so true. Yeah. See, everybody agrees with Laurel. She's the best.
All right. So I do have some questions for you as well.
Okay.
They're pretty specific, but so you said you have 70 hives right now.
Yes, currently, I believe.
And as all beekeepers, you know exactly how many you eventually want in the future, to the exact number, right?
um. Okay, let's see. Like, how many I want in the future is what you said, right? It kind of cut out. Like,
Well, you said you work for your parents.
right.
So do you have any idea, like 5 years down the road, how many hives do you guys want to have?
Um. Yeah, I would say like I work for my parents. It's not like it's a family business, but like but really they work for me. You know. I'm hoping I can convince my mom to get like 400 to 500, but I don't know.
Okay. This was also one of my other questions. How many apiaries do you have? Because in that Bob interview, you had like 60 hives at your house, and I was thinking, how does that work?
Okay, yeah. So typically, I think it's like around 50 to 60 that you can have minimal in 1 yard. I believe that's about it. Because then the foraging gets not enough. So right now I think we only have 2, but we have other places that we're looking at to be able to keep hives there. But right now we're only down to 2. But we will be adding on for sure if we want to get up to more hives.
How does that work? Do you lose more hives to robbing, or do you just shake out any weak ones so it's not an issue?
We really don't have that big of a problem with it. I mean, every now and then when it's robbing season, we will, but yeah, I don't really think we have too much of a problem with it. A lot of times we will like shake some hives out if they're really not doing anything, or if they've gone queenless, or if we have a laying worker or something like that. But
Yeah, I'm interested because during the dearth, when I have 5 hives at a house, it already gets a little hairy, and it's not ideal. So
yeah,
do you have any issues during the dearth? Not necessarily with robbing, but like just flying everywhere and like stinging you on occasion. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
we don't. I wouldn't say they sting us just like right when you walk outside, but like
No, not like that. That's not what I mean. Yeah.
but like no, yeah, but like we do like you'll walk out and it's just like bees everywhere.
Yeah.
And another thing that we do is we'll open feed every now and then, and we do it like right next to the door. So it's like you walk out. There's
Why?
I don't know. Ask my dad. He's the one who does that.
So
yeah, my sisters like won't even walk inside.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
I
yeah,
can't.
they're not pleased.
Yeah, but yeah, we do have them. They're just flying everywhere. So I've been beekeeping for, is it like 6 years now? I think maybe. I think it's like our 6th year. Is that right, Mom?
We just finished our 6th season.
Yeah, so we're on our 7th season now, I believe. What about you? You said it earlier, but
Yeah. In April it'll be 5 years. It'll be my 6th season, which feels ridiculous at this point. Like,
yeah,
the number keeps going up. I don't understand how that works, but
yeah,
it just feels weird that like it feels like I just started, but I really haven't.
Yeah, because like for us, like we have a really like crazy season while like honey flow is on, and then it stops, and it's like it just starts again. Like I feel like we don't really get a break. We used to feel like we got a break because we didn't have very many hives, but now that we have more hives, it feels like we never get a break. Like it's always something related to beekeeping that we're doing in the middle of winter, which I like it better that way. But it makes it feel like the time just flies by now. But
yeah. So what's one item that it's a must-have for 2023, Natalie?
More bees. I don't know. I don't know.
Any specific equipment? Like you said, you're really excited about the new long Langstroth hive.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
Any fancy tools? Are you going to get the master grafter?
I might. I don't know. We'll see. I think. Yeah, we have some new equipment that.
You want to save that for content. I understand.
Right. Yeah. There's we recently got a Lysin creamer, which we're really excited about. So I'm looking forward to doing a video on that. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I talked about it earlier. I'm buying 6-frame Lysin insulated nuke boxes because I've never overwintered bees, but from Ian's nuke battery talk, I figured it's probably about time because I've had nuke boxes, but they're like wooden ones that are, I don't know how they're this bad, but they're the most warped things I've ever seen in my life. I don't
Yeah.
understand. I tried one kind of finish and then I was like, oh, it's just the finish. I painted it last year. Still terrible. So I've never had and I have a bunch of easy nukes, but you can't really overwinter in those. So
Yeah.
I'm going to overwinter some nuke boxes. And like, as far as like small equipment, like hive tools, that kind of stuff, I have that one hive tool that I really like. I have like 4 others, but they're all, second. I really like it's not a J hook. It's like a normal. It's got like the non-sharp end, and it's got a hook on the opposite side. Or I should have brought it with me, but
That's all right.
but it's I really like it because what I found with the J hook is that I'd like cut some of the wood if I was prying at the frame rest, and it's not a huge deal, but it just that one's my favorite because the hook is a really nice feature. It's because when you're trying to just pry against the box, it doesn't feel right.
Yeah, I have one hive tool that I just carry around. That's the only one I'll use, and then like every now and then I'll pick up one that's like different, and I don't know how to use it. 'Cause, like I don't know how this works. Another thing that I was gonna mention is we recently got a Cowan uncapper. So I'm excited to see that. That's
pretty advanced. You're really getting off there.
I didn't think we would start that quick, but here we are. So yeah.
You got a lot more goodies.
Yeah.
I have to respect that. I mean, I have so my extractor fits like 12 frames, 12 mediums. Mm-hmm. But like there's a piece of plastic where the shaft from the basket fits into the motor, and I need to replace that part because the rocking, it's not looking so pretty. And I mean, I might be, building or buying a shed pretty soon because I've tripled in honey production the past 3 years. My first year I had 25 pounds, next year 80, and this year 235. So I don't know if I really want to triple it again, but I will have enough supers to if potentially that could happen. So
yeah, our extractor also will rock back and forth a little bit. It's just about trying to get the frames to be this equally so that it won't, but it's hard to do that because the bees aren't making the honey exactly the same on each frame. So
they're not a factory workers.
No.
They like to get quite creative.
Yes. Have you ever had them build comb in just crazy places?
Well, I had one time that I used I forgot a frame, which was it's a beekeeping milestone, right? I mean,
right.
It's gonna happen at some point. But I forgot a frame in the bottom of the box when I was harvesting. And they built, a nice piece of drone comb. And that was the day that I tested the 18 or something on the mites. Yeah. And when I picked into that drone comb, I'd looked at it before and I'd seen 1 or 2 mites in prior attempts. And that time I saw 20, 30, something like that. Yeah. I got back to my house with the wash and I looked in the bottom, and then I literally sprinted all the way back up to my hives after I put on my suit and put on the Formic Pro. I full out ran.
Yeah.
And that hive actually made it through the winter.
Wow, really? That's nice.
Yeah. Like I said, that was right about the cutoff though. If I'd waited another 2 weeks or so, it might not have been so pretty. Yeah. So it says, hi Rainier, what do you use for uncapping? I like a cold knife mostly. That's what I've been using. I haven't tried a hot knife. I use some capping scratchers, but what I find is you destroy a good amount of comb no matter what if it's brand new.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter what you use. You're still going to destroy some comb. So I'm trying to work 8 and 9 frame supers so I can get that fat comb so the bees have more to go on later. Yeah. So that's kind of what my goal is.
Yeah, we just started last year, I think it was. We started using the Pierce hot knife, and it's really nice. We like it a lot. So maybe that's something you might look into unless you like what you're doing now. And is there anything that you're wanting to try out for capping?
I got a long list. So I'm really thinking about the Laura Bees, their new vaporizer. I can't remember what it's called, but
the Instavap.
Instavap, yep.
Yeah.
Because I'm a little late to hit. I'm a little late to hit them broodless. I think they're about to start raising brooder. This might be a weird year, and they already have. But if I do 5 rounds, like I did the math, and to do all my hives, it should only take with driving time like an hour. So
Oh,
I
really?
might consider getting that. I think it might have been Pierce. It was Cayman made a video about it last year. It was an uncapping tank,
Yeah.
and I think it'd be really nice because I think it'd be really nice because it had well, it had a lot of good features. But one of the things is, once I get all of the cappings on top of the strainer, I let it drip. But if
Mhm.
I could, take it outside,
Look at that. You already have a list.
if I could take it outside and like close the top so the bees couldn't get in it, I think the heat would really help the
Yeah.
last bits of honey go through. And just like I'm uncapping, so like my uncapping setup, it's one of those inserts on the bucket. I think you have one or have
Yes. Yeah.
one. And it works pretty well. What I found is you really don't want to scrape the knife on the edge of the bucket. You want to scrape it on the actual like thing that you put on the side of the bucket, because if you scrape it on the edge of the bucket, some of it will drip onto like the edge and onto the floor. But if you
Yeah.
do it onto the like little yellow or blue piece
Yeah.
of plastic that fits on the bucket, it will fall right down. So
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, we have the Pearson capping tank. Got that a little
was
while
it when
ago.
Cadence was the same one?
Yep. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's awesome. We really like it. So it does a good job. So yeah.
Any more questions, or should I fire away here?
I'm good for another question.
All right. So like I track my flows religiously. Like that's with only 18 hives. Like I can and I had way less the past couple of years. I track the exact day and then put it on the calendar, and then I can find a general time frame. So like, when on average do your flows start? Your summer flow, I'm assuming that's your main flow.
Right.
When does it start, and what are some of your major floral sources?
Yeah, so we're a little bit different in that space right there, because I know our flow, but I don't know it's super great. So, I'm not really good about that. I'm really into like the splitting and queen rearing and like that kind of stuff, but I'm really into like the pulling honey and everything. I don't always know when the season is starting and ending. But from what I understand, our season starts at the end of May, typically some of like June-ish. And like I had mentioned earlier, if we get just the right amount of rain, we'll get a really awesome black locust flow, and that can do really well for us. We got that last year, and we had a really nice honey crop from that. We have a lot of like yellow clover and like sweet clover and white Dutch clover, and that's one of our like main honey flows. And let's see.
So is it like April to June roughly?
Yeah, about that. Or like, I'm thinking.
It's like, especially your first years, it's hard to judge, like, because your colonies can be not strong in spring. So you say there's not a flow at this time,
Yeah.
but if you had strong bees, it would be a flow.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what I found out this last year, because when I was, it was like this first or second week of May, we got a highly unusual 90-degree day in like early May. And I remember it vividly because I was working in a greenhouse that morning.
Yeah.
And the dandelions popped, and we like got an actual honey flow in early May. And so I don't know if that's a 1-year occurrence, or if that's me finally having really strong hives to pull in that crop.
Yeah, I mean, it'll usually go to like July or August-ish, something like that. We don't always get a fall flow. It's not something that we count on to feed our bees, because it's just like, you never know. So we always make sure that we don't, rely on the fall flow. There's been some years that we have gotten a really good fall flow, and then like last year, like nothing. So you just never know with that. So it's not something you can count on.
It's actually exactly the same here.
Really?
Exactly.
Okay.
And the funny part from Cayman's gauging off of what Cayman says, our fall flows start at almost the same time, which seems ridiculous considering his season's months longer than ours. But our first fall nectar, like in our bee class, they told us it'd come in August. I've never seen it before like the 1st of September. And like normally, like this last year was the one outlier, but it's either a boom or a bust. Like our first year, we didn't have to feed at all. Our second year, I waited to the end of September. They had nothing, absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And I had to feed so much that first fall. And I was scared I still had missed the boat.
Yeah.
And, fast forward to this year, this is the first year that was kind of in between because it'd been boom, bust all the way till this year. And this year was like a weird in between because I had 2 hives that got enough food for winter. And I had 1 hive, and then, sorry, my other 16, they all needed to be fed a lot. So most of the hives only made like 20 or 30 pounds. But we did
Okay.
have something, which is kind of the weird in between.
Yeah. The fall flow is just, I think I did a video on it a while back. It's just like, we're not counting on it at all.
It's such a crapshoot, like.
Yeah.
So Cayman says that he doesn't like his fall honey in Tennessee. Have you guys ever harvested any of it, and what do you think?
Yeah, I think I'm not big on like fall honey. Like I don't like the flavor of it that much. Like sometimes it's okay, but other times I'm like, no, I don't like it. And this is kind of crazy, but to be honest with you, I'm not a very big honey fan. Like,
yeah. So
I like honey, but like not like a lot of beekeepers do,
I found you're not the only one.
Yeah.
For me, like, I actually liked honey a lot more before I was a beekeeper.
Oh, really?
I'd steal honey out of the cabinets. I'd be like sticking a spoon in there. But like since I became a beekeeper, it's less of a novelty for me, I guess. And like I like honey, and like I'll eat it in yogurt, but I'm not like I need 3 spoons of honey every day.
Right. Like
beekeeper. Yeah.
Yeah, because like I like it fresh out of the hive, off the comb. But like once it's in the bottle and everything, I'm like, I'm good. I love creamed honey though. That's one of my favorite things.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, like at Hive Life, a lot of people gave us like different flavors of creamed honey, and I've got to try those, and they are amazing. So, yeah, I like creamed honey a lot more.
Did you pick a certain flavor that you like the most? What was that?
Honestly, there's a lemon flavor that I got that right now I'm really liking that one, which is kind of crazy because I wouldn't think that that's what I would like, but it is. So.
Yeah, actually, my mentor, she lives a couple hours north of me now, but I got her. I guess it's not going to focus, but it's elderberry honey.
Really?
From Hive Life.
Oh.
Because we grabbed a small gift for all this, and I think we got strawberry for my little brother, and he like just straight up eats it out of the jar.
Yeah, that's what I do. I mean, yeah.
And I try not to laugh at him too much. No, I do. And yeah, I don't know. I never seen that assortment of flavors. I have to say that was a lot.
Yeah. We're looking into maybe doing some different flavorings. It looks like a lot of fun, and it's getting to be a lot more popular. Yeah. So,
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Sorry.
I've seen it all over social media. So, like, what kind of flavors are you guys thinking about? Like, I've seen a bunch of different ways to do it, and it depends on what you're trying to infuse.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of like sriracha honey, and I've tried it, and it's good. I like spicy food. So I think we should do some more stuff like that. But I mean, we're not like into it yet. We've just been kind of talking about it. So we'll see. Are you looking to do anything like that? Like, do you do any creamed honey or anything like that?
I haven't done any creaming yet. I almost creamed honey in my extractor last year because I was testing like to see if I left more in the bottom, then it would rock less because of that issue. And it helped a little bit, but it was like the thickest honey I've ever had. It was like 15%.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And so it started to cream pretty quick. Luckily, there was enough other honey mixed in that it was fine. Mm-hmm. But I haven't done any creaming. I have an old shallow super that has wax foundation, and I haven't been able to find any plastic foundation to change out. So I think what I'm going to do is just cut out the wax foundation and use it as a comb honey super because I really wanted to do that.
Yeah. So are you looking into do more combed honey? Maybe start selling that. Do you sell your honey, right?
Yeah, so I have about 90 pounds left, but I sold the other, 100 and something pounds. Actually, the last week I was decrystallizing some of it.
Oh, really? How do you decrystallize it? Sorry, I'm like jumping from question to question.
It's good.
Just answer whatever you want.
How do I decrystallize it? So our stove's really hot, but the lightest burner puts it just under pasteurization at 150. So I have it there for like an hour or a half hour, whatever it takes. Mm-hmm. And weirdly, it just never, like I test the water temperature, it never goes over 150. It just sticks at 150. So that's what I've been doing. But I really want to use your idea of the refrigerator because I have a
Yeah.
bucket of honey that I need to decrystallize. So
Yeah.
I'm looking
Yeah.
into doing that. And of course, there just happened to be an old refrigerator in my grandparents' barn because there's
Hey.
literally everything there
Yeah.
that has ever existed. So
Yeah. Here's another question for you.
So I'd say like I was talking about the flow, the best time of the year, my favorite would be probably like mid-June. Our
Okay.
flow still has a couple weeks left, and I'm grafting queens. I graft every 20 days. I do about 3. I did 4 rounds this year, but I'm going to dial it back so I only have to do it during the flow. And so I'm grafting queens. This summer I was doing like, I don't know, 5-6 hours, something like that a week in my bees. One week I took 20 stings, but an average day is just going through 5 or 6 colonies, and I really enjoy that grafting. And when you're not failing, catching queens and caging them is pretty fun, but
Yeah.
it's not. It can be very shaky.
Yeah.
How much caging have you done? I'm assuming you don't sell that many queens, right?
We really don't. We kind of got into selling nukes a little bit last year, and then every now and then we'll do some queens. But we've been talking about getting a little bit more serious in it this year, so we'll see what happens. Now, what about you? You seem to sell a decent amount of queens, right?
Yeah. So my first year of grafting, I sold like 10. And then fast forward to this year. So yeah, I guess this will only be my 3rd year grafting. Last summer I sold, I think, like 32, but
Okay. Yeah.
I like you sit at the end of the year and you say that you did all these things well, but I feel like I missed so many opportunities, and that's always how it is. Like there's so many things that I could have potentially done better, and a lot of I just had really a lot of trouble with mating nukes. So I was running 6 6 queen castles, so 3 by 3 by 3 deep frames, and it worked pretty well. But I think it was my cell building that was the issue, because the bees did not want to accept those cells. Like I had my first round, like 2 of my queen castles just didn't get any queens back, and I really don't think it was mating because all my other queens seemed fine. So that's why I really want to focus on that cell building, because I think that if I've done a ton of research this winter, and if you give bees, even with a queen, even that they still have the queen pheromone in the hive, if you drop a cell in, they still really should accept it. So I have to think it's something with my cell building, and so I'm really going to work hard on that.
Nice. How much do you? Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, it's much more expensive here, actually. Or not much more, but somewhat more. Most queens around here go for like 40 to 45 unmarked.
Okay.
And then $50 on $50 marked. My prices are 45 and 50. My goal is to sell like 40 this year. So I'm trying to be better about setting reasonable goals.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, they can be dreams too.
Yeah. So $12 a pound for where I live. The place that I buy nukes, they sell so much honey in Maine. It's Swan's honey. It kind of undercuts my price at local stores because they can sell it, like they're selling it probably to the stores for like $6.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of honey. They must make a lot. Anyways, $12 for me, and I've sold it to a fair amount of people I know, and I sold about 50 jars at my grandparents' farm stand in about a month and a half. So it's pretty good.
So where do you sell your honey at?
So my grandparents' farm stand in West Bath, Swango Farm Market. And then just this last week, I got into because I started to really need the money because I want to buy bee equipment. So I'm really trying to push out my honey right now. Yeah. So I went into Bath Natural Market, and I'm also going to try a couple of grocery stores in the next couple of weeks.
Okay, cool. So there's another question for you.
Do I use queen cell protectors? Yes, I tried that. And that was part of the reason for my failure because I didn't realize at the time, but I got the long two pronged ones rather than the short ones on both sides.
Yeah.
And so if I try to put them above the top bars, it would like make it so the lid didn't sit flat. And then if I tried to stick it into the frame, some of the comb was so new that it like started to fall off. So I did switch to queen cell protectors that last round because I thought that would help fix my issue.
Mm-hmm.
But it was mostly user error, and I will definitely be trying that again.
Yeah. So kind of switching back now, are you like into splitting? Like, do you split your bees very often? If so, when do you do that?
Yeah. Splits for me, I mostly just make mating nukes.
Okay. Yeah.
And then once I'm done with them, I'll just turn them into full size hives and keep one queen. That's generally how I've made the splits the past couple years. Before that, I made a couple splits with mated queens, but like I haven't bought a queen since 2020. So
That's
the amount
nice.
of money that it saved me is astronomical.
Sure. Oh yes.
And the best part about it is, some people, it doesn't make sense for most people, but like I requeen every one of my queens every year. So that way I have the youngest stock possible and it doesn't cost me any money.
That's the way Bob Benny does it too. Yeah.
So
if Bob Benny does it, I mean, who wouldn't, right?
Yeah, I first got the idea because I was watching like a 5-minute Ian Stepler video. He was talking about like, it was a question that someone had sent in and it was like, are your hives better? My mentor, when they have 1-year-old queens, and it was about like, his mentor said, if you requeen every year, your hives will be more productive. And so ever since that video, that kind of was my plan. And it's worked out pretty well, I think.
Yeah. Let's see what else is going on.
Bob is the GOAT. That's correct.
Yeah.
I'm hoping. Yeah, I'm hoping to corner him for a group live chat in the future. Ian as well. I've watched so many of Bob's videos. I came in and was like, yeah, there's this guy named Bob, and I was like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
And so I finally started watching his videos. Like I do farm work in the springtime last year, and I just listened to his videos and.
Nice, yeah.
I can't even believe how much the dude knows. He's just infinite amounts of experience. It's astounding that one person can have that much experience in a field. I mean,
and he thinks he knows nothing. Like he's so.
He's like, well, I only know some stuff, just a little.
Right? Yeah. He's so fun to talk to and really easy to talk to. So, yeah, I'm hoping to go down there and meet him sometime. For sure.
Watched. What did you do on Friday night? Watch 2 teenagers talk about bees. Who would have thunk it? I agree. That's slightly odd.
Yeah, this is,
Thanks for watching.
Yeah. Do you have any more questions for me?
Yeah. I can keep them coming.
Okay.
So we talked a little bit earlier about feeding. How much feeding do you have to do between that summer dearth and your sometimes fall flow?
So usually when we're up in like, I think it's 40s-ish, we'll start be able to feed because we don't want it to get below freezing. And then, so we'll feed sometime in March usually-ish. And then, we always make sure to feed right after the flow because like I said, we can't really count on that fall flow. So we want to make sure that we're feeding right after the honey flow because we don't want to feed with supers on, but we also don't want to, wait a while. So anyway, we always like to start off feeding them right after we pull those supers off. That way we can put new boxes on our singles in hopes that they will build foundation out, and that way we have a whole new box. Sometimes they don't do it. It's really hard for us.
It's a lot of work to feed that much.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to get the bees to draw out foundation every now and then. How do you do that? Do you have any ways that you like to make them, build foundation?
So I tried the Cayman method. He made a video about it last summer. So I tried my hand at it. So I wasn't pulling a super. I made 4 or 5 splits off that hive during the honey flow.
Yeah.
I would just make as many splits as I could, throw queen cells in them and let them grow as much as I could handle. And I figured if I have enough buyers, then I can sell the queen. If not, then I'm growing a hive. So win-win either way. Yeah. And so what I would do with drawing that hive, so I condensed them down to a single, and then I pulled like 2 frames of larvae into the middle box, and I fed them for 2 or 3 weeks. Was the whole box drawn? Not even close. But I got like 5 or 6 frames, mostly drawn, and I pulled it off before winter. So free comb is free comb.
Yeah. I just want to say thank you real quick to
Yasmin.
Yasmin. Hold on.
Come on, Natalie. Don't be like.
She said, I'd love to listen to you both. Keep your dreams. She was super excited to meet at Hive Life too. I had a great time. Everybody at Hive Life was so exciting to talk to. But thank you so much. I appreciate that.
And it funny. I have a quick story about Hive Life. So if you look on my channel, it says Hive Live application because every time someone from the South says Hive Life, it sounds like Hive Life to me. I can't get it out of my head. I genuinely thought that till like 2 weeks ago. So
really?
Because I swear it sounds like Hive Live to me, not Life. Even though that makes a lot more sense. I was even wearing the bracelet. I'm still wearing it. But I still thought it was Hive Life or Live, not Hive Life. So Cayman, stop pronouncing it weirdly.
Yeah, right. There's a lot of things he says that I think he pronounces weird.
Like,
how do you say syrup?
We say syrup up here.
Okay, he says like syrup.
Yeah, I say that to annoy people. Like, how do you say syrup? I'm like, syrup.
Right. Let's see. I'm just kind of going through the chat, seeing what's going on. I'm kind of running out of questions for you that I prepared.
All right, I got some still.
Okay.
So you said first inspections that are going to be brief or in the next couple of weeks, right?
Right.
Do you have like a general time that you do your last inspections, or you just have too many hives to go around to each one if they don't have any issues?
We don't really have like an ending time because we never know when it's really gonna like get cold. Honestly, like if we want to do a quick like, not even like 10-minute inspection, just like popping the lid, see what they're doing, we can do that. It really like our hive inspections they're really quick. We don't go through all the frames because like we don't really have the time to do that, and sometimes it's just lifting the box to see what's going on, and like if we see capped brood, we're done, we move on to the next hive. So yeah, does that kind of answer the question?
Yeah. Like for me, it's like we get our first pollens, maple pollen, like beginning of April.
Yeah.
And like 2020 was like a 2 weeks late spring, so I didn't get into any hives till May 5th. That was the first 60-degree day. It was May 5th. I was crushed. I was waiting. I'd been waiting so long. I was so bored. I was just so frustrated. Yeah. But finally happened, and then I was severely disappointed. But everything worked out in the end. But yeah. So first inspection like last year was April 12th. I think it's generally the first 3 weeks of April is normal.
Mm-hmm.
And then like my tradition, I talked about it in my video. The last Saturday of September is my final inspection. So that's when I go through everyone. I, do any final combines, make sure everybody's queen right. And, that's the last time I'll see them until April. So it's a long, long time.
Yeah, that is a long time.
It's like 6 or 7 months. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like October-ish is when we really do our last everything, Yeah.
All right, I got some more for you here.
Okay.
So on an average year, any idea what your honey poll is? I know you don't have all your super strong, but right now, do you have any idea what that is roughly?
Like in total?
No, like per hive.
Per hive. Huh? It's about like 120-ish, like that.
Dang.
Right? Yeah, I think so. Is that right? Oh, four supers in total. Yeah. Sorry, I just need to make sure that's right because your reaction caught me off guard. I was like, oh.
No, well, that's not that unusual for the South from what I hear.
Yeah.
Like we could make a lot of honey, but like I don't have that many super strong. So like they make 4 on average, and you don't even have all drawn comb. Like it's somewhat mixed, right?
Yeah.
That's going to be great once you get a lot of drawn comb.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, drawn comb is so important in beekeeping.
It's
hard to get, but once you have it, it's
comb is gold.
For sure. Yes.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
What flows do you depend on up in Maine? Bonafide flows. So I talked about this a little earlier. Last year we got a flow from the dandelions, like the first or second week of April. So like everyone wanted to swarm right after that.
Yeah.
Because it got really warm in 1 week and everything just popped all at the same time. But like our main plants for the year, it's the white Dutch clover. That's the biggest one. And we have this small yellow plant called bird's foot truffle. It's
Oh,
like
really?
almost the I can't say the word, shaped plant that's
Okay.
it's like small yellow, and it's like my dad can't even like weed whack through the stuff. It's so thick. It's not like grass at all. Those are my two main flow plants, and they start like the first or second week of June. And there's pictures on my Instagram of them. Those are my two main ones. And here's another question. Yeah. Any advice for other young people wanting to start in beekeeping? What do you think, Natalie?
What kind of advice? Expect to make mistakes and learn from those mistakes, because everybody does. And you can't just, quit after one mistake because, it's going to be like 1 week into beekeeping. Because everybody starts off losing their hives. It's part of beekeeping. I think another thing is to get a mentor, watch YouTube videos, like way before you even start beekeeping, because it's really helpful that way. And, once you get yourself out there a little bit, people will start noticing you and will start helping you out a lot. Like, I have had an awesome amount of help from, like, Cayman and Bob and Ian, too. People like that, they'll help you out a lot if you really get yourself out there. Yeah, what would you say?
I think you glossed over most important point. Find a mentor.
Yeah.
Life is going to be hard your first couple of years if you don't find a mentor. Beekeeping is already challenging. If you don't have a mentor in your area, it's really hard.
Yeah.
Like, so you said all beekeepers make a mistake, it'll only take a week. Literally, that was true for me. The first week we installed our package and we put the queen in between the frames because we didn't buy a shim to like put it on top.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't squeeze the frames close enough together. So we come back 3 days later and the queen cage is sitting on the bottom board. The bees didn't even cluster around her. And she had died. So literally that first day, we made, a pretty important mistake at that point. And it actually led to me finding my mentor, funnily enough.
Oh, really?
So the bee supply store, this guy had an appointment in a town like past us. So we happened to be driving up our road. So we asked him to drop off a queen and we like left a check in the mailbox. So he leaves the queen and he realizes, oh, this other beekeeper that went to bee school at the same place, she lives right next to her. So he told her, my mentor, that I was starting beekeeping 2 houses down. And so from that point on, she just came up to our door and knocked and was like, here's my number. If you ever want any help, just call or text me. And anyway, so that's actually how we found our mentor. We weren't trying to, it just happened.
Nice. How have your parents supported your decisions in beekeeping, in the bee yard, basically?
I can't thank them enough. I mean, they've spent so many hours my mom, especially being my sounding board. Like I talk about bees all year round, every day.
Yeah.
So that they drive me places. She bought all the first year's equipment. She bought the class. She's the one who got me there. And I even got a job like my 3rd year to take care of bees at a small coffee company, like 20 or 30 minutes. And my dad drove me there every Sunday to take care of the bees. And I can't thank them enough. They've spent so much time helping me.
Yeah, same here. I mean, my dad's the reason I got into beekeeping, so I have a lot to thank him for. And my mom does all of the filming for my videos, and she sets the camera up. Yeah, it really is. Like, I never think about how hard it would be if she wasn't filming my videos, because there's a lot of beekeepers out there that film their own videos, and it's harder that way. And yeah, I mean, they're the only reason I'm still here today, because they're like, you can do it, you can keep doing it. And they're also the reason I'm doing this live tonight, because I'm I like to stay back in my corner and do my own thing, but it's important to get out there and do more. So, yeah.
Natalie and Rainier, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Are you planning to do a master beekeeping program? Do you know of a youth curriculum for beekeepers? I have not pursued that yet. I think I could take the EAS course. I don't know if you're supposed to be 18, but I'll be that next year anyway, so it won't be that long. I'm not planning on taking it, but maybe it'll happen. I believe you took a course, am I right?
So I'm taking the Master Beekeeping course from the University of Florida, with like Jamie Ellis. So I'm currently working on that right now. To be honest with you, it's been kind of hard to like keep up with it, but I'm really liking it. There's a lot to learn from it, so I think it's definitely something to look into if you're wanting to learn more in-depth beekeeping stuff. But yeah, that's what I'm taking right now. So yeah.
Biology, science kind of based, I'm assuming, from the way you're describing it. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. It's awesome. Yeah.
It's
kind of hard though. Like it's not super easy because there's these like tests at the end of it that it's not easy, but
you have to pay attention is what
right. Like
you're like clicking through the stuff and then you get to the end and you're like,
I don't know. Yeah.
They said
to pay attention.
Do you know of any youth curriculums? I think Natalie's doing a youth workshop at the West Virginia Bee Conference in March.
Yeah, I believe I am. I've been kind of getting my conferences mixed up, so I'm not sure. But yeah,
I'm pretty sure your mom posted. Your manager.
Okay. Yeah, there we go then. She is totally my manager. She's doing everything behind the live right now too. She was like, "Oh, we're doing this month and that this month." I'm like, "Okay, great." So yeah. Because I don't really do that much social media stuff like Instagram and Facebook, so I don't have any.
Good for you. Keep it that way if you can.
Okay. But yeah, I'll be in West Virginia in March, and then is it Quincy, Illinois, I think?
Yeah.
That's where I'll be in, is it July, I believe? I don't know the dates for anything, but yeah, I'll be doing that. I'll be speaking there, so that'll be exciting.
Natalie, how do you keep store your supers to keep wax moths out?
So we actually have a old we have like an old camper that we're currently keeping our honey supers in right now, and we use, I think it's Paramoth is what it's called.
Yeah.
We put it on just like a paper plate, just a couple scoops, and I have a video somewhere on it. I don't know where it's at or what it's called.
Too many videos.
Right. Yeah. I never remember the titles of videos. So anyway, that's what we're doing right now. It works for us, so we'll be doing that for a while until we run out of space. So yeah. What about you?
I've had very little experience with wax moths, but as I've said, I watch a lot of YouTube, so I've got like 100 secondhand accounts of how to deal with wax moths. From what I understand, Greg Rogers, a lot of other Bob Kamen, they all say the same thing, which is wax moth, they like the larva and they like the old brood combs. So if you keep honey in your supers and you don't harvest any supers that have a bunch of pollen, then it shouldn't be a huge issue. The only wax moth experience I've ever had is like I scraped off some foundation that had some damaged comb from mice, and it had some pollen in it. And I left those sheets together in my basement. And what I found was a couple months later in the summer, there was some wax moth larvae in between them. But I've been very blessed. I haven't dealt with any comb damage.
That's good.
Keep the pollen out of your supers. That's, I think, the main key.
Yep, that's what I was about to say. Yeah, for sure. Yep. I think that was Curtis. It's fun.
Do I build any woodenware? Yes, I build all of my woodenware. Like my dad is a woodworker. Like we say you can't buy anything for him because he has literally every tool on the entire earth. So I don't build it, but I do assemble it.
Okay.
Whoops, I messed that up. Yeah, I don't build any, but I do assemble all of it.
Yeah.
Like even since like my first year, I assembled all of our equipment.
Okay.
And suffice to say, I did hit my finger with a hammer many times, but I live to tell the tale. And I haven't built any stuff yet. I built a couple shims. They were all really bad. And I'm going to build some migratory tops and use those to feed sugar on my lighter colonies.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me and my dad do most of the assembling, but we buy our boxes.
Yeah,
And then,
it's hard to build stuff.
yeah, we're getting ready to build our bottom boards. We do build those. I know Bob has a video on how he builds his bottom boards. That's exactly what we're doing. So
how he builds everything. I mean, he's got something.
Yeah. So I don't know how long you want to go, but it's been an hour and a half, so we'll maybe do a couple more questions and then maybe call it a night.
Sounds good.
So let's see. I don't think there's really any more questions in the chat right now.
All right. Go ahead.
There's just one comment, right?
Yeah.
Did we already answer this?
Kind
of.
In some sense. We both really like grafting queens and making splits, and I think we're both going to do some of that.
Yeah, there you go. Good job.
So as far as questions,
it's okay for all out. We can just.
All right, one last question. So
okay.
You said you like making splits, but in your other video from earlier this year, you said, quote, "I hate making splits."
Yeah.
So did the queen excluder splitting change your mind? Is that what happened?
Did. Yeah. So actually, one thing about when we make splits, it's always raining. Always. Because it's always raining.
Oh, why? Because time of the year?
It's just that time of the year. We always get a lot of rain, and I always feel like we're always making splits in the rain. And so it kind of ruined the experience for me because I always have these traumatic experiences, getting stung hundreds of times, and we're all yelling at each other because we don't know what's going on. So but the queen excluder really changed that for me. It got a lot easier and actually got fun. And so I would say I actually enjoy making splits now, because before we really didn't we knew what we were doing, but it
wasn't organized.
Since it's 3 of us and we all have a different mindset of what we want to do, there's just a lot going on. But yeah, I would say I like it a lot more now.
Yeah,
yeah, it's just too much is going on, and it's it's at one point. This was 2 years ago, I think. I was splitting the bees, and then it just started absolutely pouring. So you gotta quickly put the boxes back on, put a lid on. So that's not fun. But once you graft, and then once you've grafted, you have a certain time that you have to make your splits. And so we would graft, and then we run out of days to say, oh, it's okay, we'll just wait till tomorrow, because you have to make your splits before your queens emerge. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad you found a way to make it not terrible.
Yeah, for sure.
What's your goal on honey yield?
You can say anything. Do you have anything?
Right. For me, I want 300 pounds. That's my goal. It's only 60 more than last year, so I don't think it's that ambitious. I'm going to have 25 supers, so best case scenario, I think it was just over 700 pounds if I use all my supers. But like I said, if I get 300, that'll all be from the summer flow. So yeah.
I would say 2,000 to 3,000 pounds. I think that's something like that. How do you use the queen excluders, shake bees down to bring? Yeah. I'm forgetting all of how we make our splits now, but it's basically you shake all the bees down, and you get the queen down into the bottom box, and then whatever you're wanting to use to make the splits, you move up into the top box. I made a video on it also, and I'm definitely going to make a video on it this year, because we've only been doing it for a couple 1 or 2 years now, so it's really new to us, but we definitely enjoy doing it. Like I said, it's kind of changed my experience. So then everything in that top box is going to go into a split. So you take everything, all those frames out, and you take the bottom box off, or the top box, sorry. You take the box and everything, and then you just take that queen excluder off and put the lid on, and that's it. So it's just a lot easier, because you go on the day before and prepare everything, and then the day that you're making splits, it's just a lot quicker and easier and more fun. So yeah.
I have so many traumatic stories about making up splits for mating nukes, because that's all the splits I'll do pretty much.
Mhm.
And like it's just an absolute mad dash for like 2 days.
Yes.
I'm just like
Yeah.
dying and pushing so hard, and I'm like falling
Yeah.
asleep before I get home. Like,
Yeah. And it's usually like the first thing we're doing bee season. Like it's just like
it's
right
a
off the
big,
bat you're
first
making
big one
splits.
activity. Yeah.
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 It's always
And
crazy. And like I would say our honey flow season is like chiller than our splitting season. Like it's not as crazy. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Our honey season is pretty busy too once we're in like extracting. But yeah. So I think is there
yeah.
anything else you want to talk about? I think we're
I think we're good. Yeah.
right. Well, thank you all so much for coming on the live tonight, and thank you for coming on this live. I had a really great time. Hoping we can do more stuff in the future, because it's always exciting to be able to talk to somebody closer in age. Not to offend anybody, but you know it's true. So again, thanks for everybody coming on. Thanks to you again, and my parents who've been helping out also. And yeah,
Thanks
anything
for
you want to
having
say?
me.
Okay, great.
All right,
We'll
bye.
see you guys next time.